Govee is currently offering 3 different water leak detectors at this time: the Govee Wi-Fi Water Sensors Alarm, the GoveeLife Water Leak Detector 2, and the GoveeLife Water Leak Detector 1S. I've been testing all 3 of these for as long as possible: the Wi-Fi for over 2 years, the Detector 2 for over 1 year, and the 1S just came out. I've been using it for just over a month. How do you know which one is the best one to protect your home? I'm going to make the first choice simple. Once they are done selling what they have of the Wi-Fi leak detector series, they won't be making any more. So this one is going to be discontinued. So the rest of this video will be comparing the Detector 2 and the 1S from a number of sensors standpoint. The Detector 2 can handle up to 100 sensors. The 1S hub can handle up to 64 sensors. 64 is still huge. We might all be judging if you have more than 64, but there could be good reasons. And in that case, you would get a second hub in order to support anything you need more than 64 or 100. Also, when it comes to the gateways, nothing is backwards compatible. So if you want 1S, you have to have the 1S hub. Even if you have the leak detector 2 already, you're going to need to get a new hub if you want the 1S sensors. The one really cool feature with the 1S that I absolutely love, each sensor has an adjustable volume. It comes in at high, and you can turn it down to medium, low, and you can also turn it off. The Detector 2 actually has volume control as well, but you have to push the button on the device. It isn't adjustable through the app. The 1S also allows you to adjust the volume through the button, but the app is much easier to navigate. I've not seen this with any other sensor on the market. While we're on the subject of volume, the alarm on the Detector 2 is 100 decibels. The S1 is 105 decibels, but at these noise levels, it's well past the point where I can hear a difference. And you can't hear a difference over this video, it's so loud. In my opinion, that's not a significant difference. From a design standpoint, and I'm going to bring this one back in, because what I find interesting is that the speaker used to be on top. And then when it came to the Detector 2, the speaker hole was on the side. So I proved this point in the previous video. If the leak is directly on top of the sensor, it can fill up this hole and muffle the sound of the sensor screaming at you. Is it going to go off the side first? Or is it going to go into the speaker? Oh, it's full. Oh, that's blissfully a little more quiet. Now, you don't have that problem from the side. What's interesting is that they went back with the original design on the latest and greatest 1S, which is interesting because of the next difference. The 1S is IP67 rated, which is a higher rating than IP66, which is what these are. What IP67 means is that you can submerge this sensor in up to 1 meter of water, which no one wants to think about, for up to 30 minutes, and this sensor will be fine. Whereas for IP66, this rating means that you can shoot high-powered jets at any angle of this sensor, and the sensor would be fine. Also, don't want to think about that scenario either. Based on the muffling sound, I don't recommend putting a leak sensor right underneath the source of water. Just in case it gets muffled, I would put it just to the side of a leak. But with this rating, I think that's fairly durable. Another difference is that we have only one set of sensors on the bottom of the 1S versus the Detector 2 that has 2 sets of sensors on the bottom. There has always been one set of sensors on the top. But when you think about how capillary action works for water, once it hits one point, it's just going to spin around and connect all the surface. It's going to be perhaps just a few more moments for water to get detected on this side if the water leak happens on the opposite end. Both sets of sensors are powered by 2 AAA batteries, which they're said to last 5 years. Now, I believe that considering the two AAAs in the Wi-Fi have lasted over 2 years, and they were really only supposed to last for one, I still haven't changed the batteries yet on any of those three sensors. So I'm going to believe them that these are going to last 5 years. Another difference that I noticed is that these little pads that are covering the screws to get to the battery, this is a nice feature that I wonder if was the result of rust built up on these other sensors where the screws are exposed. So whether or not I'm just surmising, putting dots together on my own, I think this is a really nice feature to have to make this sensor last longer, especially if you're in a high humidity environment. Perhaps this is out in a boathouse somewhere where it is exposed to the elements more, and salt water could make a difference. I definitely can see how they are making improvements when they're coming out with these new sensors. The distance covered between the sensor and the gateway for the Detector 2, it's 600 meters, which is 1,968 feet. Yeah, I didn't have that memorized. The distance between the 1S sensor and the gateway is 550 meters, which is 1,804 feet. A little bit less for the 1S, but that is a huge distance. Now, I did a long distance test on the leak detector too, and I didn't quite get that full distance, but my goodness, it was really far. And worst case scenario, again, you're buying a second hub and putting it somewhere way far away and putting other sensors wherever that far distance is. Admittedly, this next point is not a difference, but it's so important for you to know that not only do these sensors detect water, but they can pair with something that can actually shut the water off as soon as your sensor detects that there is a leak. Because this all uses the Govee Home app, it is IFT compatible, and you can use something like Fin Plus. Fin Plus is a water monitor and shutoff system that goes on your water main. When I create an applet on IFT allowing any device alert on any Govee sensor to shut off the water to the house with my Fin Plus device, when the sensor detects water, Fin Plus is closing the valve, stopping water from flowing through the house, keeping the leak as small as possible. You can see my phone received notices from IFT, the Govee app, and an email from Govee. That can work with any other water leak detector that has IFT capability size. You can see these are pretty comparable. They're about the same height, just over an inch, about the same width, just under 2 inches, and lengthwise, just over 3 inches. The 1S is slightly smaller, but not enough to make it a deciding factor either way. Here's an unexpected difference. The gateways are pretty big when you consider their size when they're plugged into a standard outlet. You definitely don't want to put them on the top position because they will cover up the bottom one as well. If you put it on the bottom, both gateways will only work with a plug without a ground, just 2 prongs. The 1S gateway seems like it might work with a grounded plug because it doesn't extend out as far on top, as well as with this bump out design, but it doesn't. However, both work with anything when you plug them in upside down. So in reality, there isn't much of a difference. The next point is not a difference, but it's definitely good to know before buying either set. I've reached out to Govee and they've kindly given me a discount code. No More Leaks 10 will get you a discount of 10% off whatever sensors you buy. I think it's clear where I'm headed with this is that the 1S is the future, we can see as they are phasing out an older model. And that's what I would go for if I was buying today. Before buying the 1S set, check out this video next so that you know what to expect when it comes to setting it up. I've included some mistakes in there so that you don't have to. I'll see you there.